Some stories don't get silenced. They get buried by the very people who run the world you think you understand. This isn't about ghosts or curses. It's not about haunted studios or cursed tracks. What you're about to hear is much darker because it's real. It's about power, submission. And what happens when the cameras turn off? The contracts get signed and the doors lock from the inside. They call it the Gay Mafia. Not as a joke, not as a slur, but as a quiet, terrifying truth whispered by people who've seen too much and lived to regret it. There are freak-offs, what they call the parties. There are tapes, what they use to keep you in line. And there are people, very famous people, who aren't free the way you think they are. I didn't get an invitation. I wasn't there to perform or party or sell my soul. I was just a security guard. And somehow, I ended up in the one place no one is ever supposed to walk into uninvited. So if you've ever wondered what really happens behind Diddy's doors, this is your warning. I wasn't supposed to be anything more than a pair of eyes behind sunglasses. I didn't grow up dreaming of working for celebrities. I didn't care about glitz, money, any of that. I was just trying to keep my head above water. Former military, couple tours overseas. When I got back, I bounced between jobs, mall security, nightclub detail, the occasional VIP event, no benefits, no stability, just enough to cover rent and keep my mom and her meds. It was my cousin who got me into the private protection circuit. He told me these people don't want Rambo, they want quiet, they want someone who blends in, keeps their mouth shut, and doesn't ask questions. I was good at that. I started small. Private birthday gigs in Calabasas, influencer parties in the hills. Mostly rich kids showing off, nothing serious. But eventually, I got noticed by someone in the circle, though I didn't know that term yet. A guy named Andre who always wore beige suits and never made eye contact. He said he worked logistics for Combs Enterprises. That's how I got assigned to them, the Combs family. At first it felt like a lucky break. The money was double, no uniforms, just plain clothes work. I wasn't guarding a door, I was guarding an image. I started working small events. A dinner here, a studio night there, no slip-ups, no questions. The one rule, keep your mouth shut and your eyes forward. But here's the thing, when you're security, you see everything, especially the things you're not supposed to. You see who walks in through the back entrance, who gets escorted upstairs and who stumbles out an hour later, trembling. You see the fake smiles, the cold hands, the bruises covered in makeup. You learn to read silences better than words. And you start to understand that in places like this, power doesn't shout, it whispers. I didn't know what I was getting into, not at first. When you're just a guy getting paid to stand still and look tough, you don't imagine you'll be caught in the middle of something huge, something evil. But the signs were there, and I ignored them. I told myself I was just doing my job. I told myself it wasn't my business. I told myself to be grateful. Because let me tell you something about working with the elite. It feels like standing on the edge of a black hole. You know there's something massive behind you, something pulling, something swallowing light. But as long as you keep your back to it, you can pretend it's not there. That illusion broke the night I worked my first real party at Diddy's mansion. They called it a networking mixer. I would learn later that was code for something much darker. But back then, I was just a guy in a black suit, holding an earpiece, pretending not to notice the things I couldn't unsee. And the more I saw, the less I slept. They never called them parties, not officially. On paper, they were industry mixers, after-session socials, or executive retreats. But once you worked enough of them, once you stood still long enough in a hallway or by a private elevator, you started hearing the real names: Freakoffs, shopping nights, the garden. And every time you heard it, you saw the same thing. Someone new getting quiet, not excited, not honored. Quiet, like they knew what the invite really meant. The first one I witnessed was a rising R&B singer, pretty boy type, charismatic. Everyone said he was the next big thing. He got the invite through his handler, a simple text. Black tie, Be ready. Car arrives at 11:45. Matching fits encouraged. No address, no details. Just a time and a command. I watched him read it at one of Diddy's smaller dinners, held in a penthouse suite where the blinds were always drawn, even at midnight. As soon as he read it, he went pale. His smile stayed on, but his hands started shaking, not with nerves, with dread. That night, I caught a glimpse of him getting out of a black SUV and walking into the house with two others. All three were dressed the same, black tuxes, deep red ties. Their eyes didn't meet, like they were told not to speak. I didn't see them for the rest of the night, but I heard things. And when I saw him again a week later, he was everywhere. Spotify playlists, late night talk shows, even commercials. Overnight. From the outside, it looked like success. But I saw something hollow in his eyes, like whatever part of him got him famous wasn't part of him anymore. There was a code in how people talked. They never said, Diddy invited me. They said, I've been selected. If someone was shopping, it meant they were looking to use you or offer you to someone higher up. It wasn't just Diddy. Sometimes you'd hear names like Weinstein, Epstein, spoken in whispers, like ghosts. People would say, he's one of them. Family, that word kept coming up. Family. And Diddy? He wasn't the head of it all, but he was a boss, a gatekeeper, a man who could push a button and change your life, or erase it. I once saw an up-and-coming rapper get bold, turned down an invite, said, I don't swing like that. His tone was half joke, half defense. 3 weeks later, he was dropped from 2 festivals. A week after that, his IG was hacked and wiped. Sponsors vanished. Blogs turned on him, just like that. No headlines, no scandal, just silence. Meanwhile, the ones who said yes, they exploded. Deals, features, private jets, like someone flipped a switch. I used to think fame came from hustle. Now I know better. It comes by invitation. And every invitation comes with a cost. They told me I'd be working private detail at the mansion that night. No outside team, just Diddy's in-house guys. Everyone else was cleared out. No caterers, no bartenders, no DJ. Just his hand-picked crew and a guest list that was burned after the event. Phones were taken at the gate. Even staff had to leave theirs in lockboxes. One of the senior guards looked me dead in the eye and said, tonight, you don't see anything. You're a wall. You're air. I should have walked. I didn't. By the time the third black SUV rolled up the long curved driveway, I knew this wasn't a normal mixer. Everyone getting out was either too famous, too scared, or too quiet. I saw rappers who'd recently exploded online, influencers I'd seen in viral clips, and a few people who didn't belong, young, way too young. Each guest was handed something before they entered. A silk tie, a colored bracelet, a mask. I watched handlers whisper things in their ears. Some nodded, some hesitated. One girl actually tried to back away. Her handler gripped her by the wrist, leaned in close, said something I couldn't hear. She went still. Then she walked inside. Inside, the mansion was different. No music blasting, just low, pulsing tones, like a heartbeat underwater. The lights were red but not warm, more like surgical. Everything was velvet and shadows, too much perfume in the air. People moved like they were in a trance. And the doors. There were rooms that had guards, 2 or 3 standing side by side like soldiers. People went in. Sometimes they came out fast, eyes down. Other times they didn't come out at all. No one asked questions. At around 1:30 a.m., one of the lead staff leaned in and said, escort Mr. Songs upstairs, room 6, now. Trey Songs had just walked in, flanked by 2 women and a guy I didn't recognize, all dressed sharp, too sharp for how late it was. Trey didn't say anything to me, just gave a look like, You know what this is? I walked him to the staircase. As we passed by one of the guarded doors, I heard something, muffled but clear. Crying, then screaming, then a heavy thud. I stopped, just for a second. Another guard locked eyes with me from across the hall. He didn't say a word, just shook his head once, slow, like don't be a hero. I didn't move. Room 6 was at the end of the hall. I knocked, no answer. The door opened anyway. I didn't see what was inside. I didn't want to. Trey walked in without hesitation. The door closed behind him. Later that night, I saw one of the girls from earlier, same one who tried to back away at the door. She was on the back patio, barefoot, glassy-eyed, holding a champagne flute but not drinking it. Her dress was ripped near the seam, one heel broken. A handler came up behind her, wrapped a blazer around her shoulders, whispered in her ear. She nodded slowly, and they walked back into the house together, like she was being reset, like they'd hollowed her out. When the night ended, the mansion emptied like a machine powering down. No laughter, no mess, just silence. Diddy walked by, nodded at me like nothing had happened. Behind him, someone was mopping the marble floor. Whatever they were cleaning, it was red. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep for a long time after. After that night, no one said a word. Not about the screaming, not about the girl on the patio, not about Trey Songz in room 6. It was like the mansion reset itself, like none of it had ever happened. The housekeepers came in the next morning like it was any other day, scrubbing champagne flutes, replacing velvet ropes, vacuuming down the long hallways where everything had gone silent. I stood there, pretending to look at my phone, but my hands were shaking. I waited for someone to say something. A joke, a whisper, a knowing glance. Nothing. A few days later, I saw Trey again, on TV this time, sitting on a late-night couch, grinning, sunglasses on indoors, promoting a new single, teasing a Netflix cameo. The host joked, "Man, you've been everywhere lately." He just smiled. "I'm just blessed?" Same week, the girl from the patio popped up on Instagram. Verified now. Fashion Week invite, influencer deal, over 100,000 new followers overnight. Her face looked brighter. Her captions were spiritual. New energy, new circle, no regrets, but her eyes still hollow. I tried to let it go, tell myself it wasn't my world, that I was just security. But it started following me home. I wasn't planning to go into Diddy's private study. That kind of move gets you fired, or worse. But that night, after the last guest had stumbled out and the staff started their silent cleanup, I noticed something strange. The door to his upstairs office, the one that always had a lock and a biometric scanner, was ajar, just slightly, like someone had gone in and forgotten to close it. No guards, no cameras pointed at the hall, just me and the open door. I stood there for a long time. Every instinct told me to walk away, but something colder, something curious and sick and starved for the truth, pulled me in. The room was spotless, not lavish, not flashy, minimalist, intentional, no awards on the wall, no plaques, just a desk, a single dim lamp, and a wall of locked file drawers. One of them was open, and inside was a manila folder with one word written on the tab, family. The folder was thick, documents, photos, screenshots, and one page at the front, a structure chart, like a company hierarchy. At the top, the circle. Below that, 5 names. Some were aliases, but I recognized them. Diddy, Weinstein, Polanski, Epstein. Each had a branch underneath. Record labels, agencies, management companies. Bad Boy was just a limb. So was Rock Nation. So was Arista. It wasn't just music, it was everything. Entertainment, fashion, even politics. Dozens of names connected underneath. Some crossed out, some circled. Next to a few were handwritten notes. Unreliable, compromised, indebted. Then I found the photos. Pictures of celebrities, some at parties, some in rooms I'd never seen before. Some in situations that made my skin crawl. People you know. People who smile for the camera every day. They looked broken, scared, owned. At the back of the folder was a document titled Asset Conversion Timeline. It read like an instruction manual. Phase 1, contact. Phase 2, isolation. Phase 3, invitation. Phase 4, initiation. Phase 5, leverage. Phase 6, production. That's what they call it when a person stops being a person and starts being content. A product. A puppet. I put everything back exactly how I found it. Closed the drawer. Closed the door. Wiped the knob. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't even go home. Just drove around until the sun came up, stomach twisted, heart pounding like I'd swallowed a ticking bomb. They call it the Gay Mafia online. People joke about it, meme it. They say it's a bunch of rich execs doing weird stuff in basements. They have no idea. It's not about being gay. It's not even about sex. It's about power, submission, ownership. They groom you. They film you. And once they have the tape, the photos, the file, you're part of the family. Not metaphorically, legally, contractually, spiritually. You belong to them. A week after that night, a new guy replaced me on the team. No warning, no call. I just wasn't on the schedule anymore. No one said why. They didn't have to. And the next morning, my burner phone buzzed with a single message. No number, no text, just a picture of that open drawer. They knew. I told myself I wouldn't talk. I told myself I'd disappear, but it's been eating me alive. You needed to know. Someone did, because this isn't just a Diddy thing. It's bigger than him. He's just one of the bosses. The real family is still out there. And now, one night I came back to my apartment and something felt wrong, not broken, not missing, just wrong. My toothbrush was wet. My window lock was flipped. My laptop was on, even though I never leave it that way. The next morning, there was an envelope in my mailbox. No name, no return address. Inside was a printed photo. It was me, standing outside room 6, looking at the door, alone. No timestamp, no watermark, just proof. No note, just the message behind the silence. We see you. After that, everything changed. I stopped sleeping. I unplugged my TV. I got a second phone, burner style, and stopped using my main one at home. Some of the other guards stopped talking to me, guys I'd worked with for years. One of them, a big guy named Marcus, finally pulled me aside and said, "You weren't supposed to hear that room. That wasn't for us." I asked him, what was in there? He just looked away, then said, "You ever hear about Lenny?" I hadn't. He nodded slowly. Exactly. I tried to leave, said I wanted off Diddy's detail. They didn't fight me on it. A guy from HR smiled, handed me 2 forms. One was a standard NDA, nothing unusual. The other? It said I was surrendering all security-related digital assets and footage collected on Combs' property. Even though we were told no recordings, I guess they assumed I'd kept something. I told them I lost the hard drive, left it in a lift. The guy just smiled wider. "That's okay," he said. "We have copies." That night, I sat in my car for over an hour with the engine off, thinking about everything I'd seen, about the rules, about the rise, about the price. Because here's what they don't tell you. Fame is a product, but someone has to bleed for it. And the industry? It's just a machine built to hide the mess. I started this job thinking I was just a body in a hallway. Turns out I was a witness to something bigger. And once you see it, you don't come back the same. I got the message 2 weeks after I snooped in that file drawer. It came through an encrypted email I didn't recognize, on a laptop I hadn't used in months. No greeting, no signature, just a time, an address, and one sentence. "Come alone." No recording. He wants to talk. I almost didn't go, but something in me needed to. Call it closure. Call it insanity. Call it the part of me that still wanted to believe it was all a misunderstanding. The address led to a high-rise downtown. No signage, no front desk. An elevator at the back opened without a key card, taking me up to a single penthouse floor. When the doors slid open, he was already waiting. Diddy, dressed in a black turtleneck, calm, perfectly still, holding a glass of something dark, watching the skyline like it was a chessboard. "Come in," he said, without turning around. I did. No cameras, no guards, just him and me. He sat in a leather chair near the window and gestured to the one across from him. I sat down, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear myself think. For a minute, he didn't speak, just watched me, like he was trying to decide what I was worth. Then he smiled. "You know," he said, "not many people get this far. Most see the edges and run. But you peek behind the curtain and you're still standing." I said nothing. He sipped his drink. "You've seen how it works. You've seen the rewards, the loyalty, the control. That's what we offer, order. In a world full of noise." I finally found my voice. "You're calling that order?" He smiled again, softer this time, like a teacher humoring a student. "This industry doesn't run on talent. It runs on leverage. We don't destroy people, we shape them. Give them meaning, give them purpose. All we ask is cooperation." He leaned forward now, eyes sharp. "You're strong, loyal, quiet. I like that. You don't have to vanish. You could belong. We'd take care of you. All you'd have to do is give us a piece, just one. A piece, a little footage, a little trust. Once we have that, we can elevate you. Money, safety, influence." My stomach turned. "You mean blackmail?" He shrugged. "Call it what you want. We call it commitment." Silence stretched. The offer hung in the air like the last breath before a storm. I stood up. "No." His smile didn't drop right away, but something behind his eyes did. "You sure?" he asked quietly. "You walk away, you become a liability. I'd rather be a ghost than one of you." He nodded. "Everyone says that." At first, I turned toward the elevator. Then came the crack. A sharp blow. The world tilted sideways. I didn't even feel the ground when I hit it. Just black. I woke up in a hospital bed, IV in my arm, lights buzzing above. A nurse stood by my side. "You had a fall," she said. "A pretty bad one. Stairwell, they think. Maybe alcohol was involved." I tried to speak. My head felt like it had been split open. No wallet. No ID. "Someone dropped you off and left. Said they found you passed out behind a building." I knew better. She left me alone. On the tray beside the bed was a bouquet of white roses. No card, just a folded slip of paper, typed in clean, neat letters. "Consider again." I've told you everything I know. Not because I want attention. Not because I'm trying to go viral. I told you because I needed someone, anyone, to hear the truth before they bury it. Diddy's not just a music mogul. He's part of something older, darker, and much more organized than anyone on the outside could imagine. And the worst part? He's just one piece of the system, a face, a recruiter. I don't know how long I'll be safe. They already found me once. And if you're hearing this, it probably means they're already watching you too, because now you know. Now you've heard what you're not supposed to. And trust me, once you see behind the curtain, you don't just get to walk away. So if you're chasing fame, chasing the lifestyle, chasing that invite to the big leagues, just remember what it might cost you. Sometimes the price of fame isn't your talent. It's your silence, your body, your soul. Be careful what doors you open. Some of them you don't come back from. You don't come.